Welcome to the Unfiltered Tea with Evie podcast, where personal brands and service providers come for honest, anti-sleaze marketing advice that actually works. I'm Evie Taveras, founder of Evie Taveras Branding, and if you're tired of manipulative tactics, sleazy marketing strategies, and feeling like you're the only one who doesn't have your business all together, you're in the right place. On this podcast, we're diving into copywriting, personal branding strategy, business mindset, and balancing business with kids and real life. I'll be bringing in some epic guests, including business experts, to share their insights and real experiences in life and business. You can expect real life stories, tactical tips, and the occasional spicy Evie moment, all served up with your morning cup of tea. So grab your tea, get cozy, and let's get into it. Welcome back. We're back with another solo episode of the Unfiltered Tea with Evie, and today I'm coming back with the email marketing series. Last time, in the last episode, we talked about an email welcome sequence, so that's welcoming people to your list, whether you're giving them a freebie or if they've just signed up through your general email list link. And it's a great way to really welcome people into the list, let them know what to expect, just like what's a good strategy to go with for those welcoming emails. So today I wanted to talk about email launch sequences. So these are emails specifically for when you do have something to sell, whether you're launching a course or a program or an event. And this is what you can use to really warm up your audience and take them through the buyer journey that they need to go through before they're ready to buy from you during a launch. So before I dive into what the emails are, I want to just touch on for a moment that when it comes to a launch strategy, an email launch sequence is only a piece of that puzzle. So there's a lot of, in the launches that I've worked in, the successful launches with like an event sold out in like 12 days with the early bird, sold out group fitness programs, the kind of launches that I've worked in, it's not just the emails that we're relying on. There's like a whole ecosystem inside the launch that you want to make sure that you have covered. The first thing is that you want to make sure that you're already showing up for your audience consistently. You're already nurturing your audience. You're not just popping into their inbox just because you have something to sell. You've already developed that relationship, that cadence with them. So you selling something is not going to be like you popping in saying, buy my stuff all the time. It's part of like an overarching strategy that includes nurturing your audience outside of launches. I want to make sure that you're doing that before we dive into any sort of launch. And then again, also before launch, it's good to like build the anticipation. So if you launch something completely out of the blue, nobody even knew about it, there was no sign of any launch coming, you're starting with a very cold audience. You want to warm up your audience to your launch. And you can do that in a few different ways. So you can, in one of your nurturing emails, you can put it in like a PS and be like, hey, something's coming on this date. Keep your eyes open on your inbox. Super exciting. I think you're going to love it. Build that anticipation for them. But not only in your email marketing, if you're also marketing on social media, then making sure that you are posting about it on social media. Like, do the warm up, show the behind the scenes of I'm planning something for you. This is so exciting. Stay tuned. Here's the launch date. You can give as little or as much information as you want, but just let them know that something is coming so that you're building that anticipation and getting them kind of ready to buy. And you can start having conversations around what you're selling as well. So let's say that you're launching an event. You could say, I've been having a lot of conversations lately with business owners who feel a little lonely. They feel like they've been very heads down in their business, and just start having conversations around those pain points, around the outcomes that people are kind of looking for. What are people missing? So you're kind of getting them in the mindset of, yeah, you're right. I feel a little heads down right now. I feel a little lonely right now. I could really use something to boost that up so that when you eventually launch your offer, you're like, oh, hey, this is the perfect fit for me because I already knew I was having this problem. So once you get into your launch, there's a typical launch sequence that I like to use, and typically it's between 4 to 6 emails depending on how long the launch is, depending on your audience. And the first one is always, always, always going to be like a doors open, card open, and welcoming them, letting them know that the launch has started. So if there's any specials like early bird specials or anything like that, you'd want to make sure that you highlight that in this first email. Give them the immediate details that they would need to know to buy right off the bat, and let them know if there's any like bonus offers or anything like that. This first email is really just about giving them the foundation or the lay of the land on what you're launching so that they know whether or not they want to buy. The emails in between this first email and the last email, you're going to want to do things like storytelling. So whether it's your story of why you started this launch, what you noticed in the industry that made you feel like this was going to be a good offer. And you could also tell stories about your clients. So use case studies of this person went from point A, worked through this offer, got to point B, this is the outcome that they had after point B, to really show them the full picture and the full transformation of what the offer has to show. If it's your first time launching the offer and you don't have a case study, don't make one up. I feel like that goes without saying. But instead of saying like, this is what happened to this real person, you could paint the picture for them like, imagine this. So you're currently dealing with the struggles at point A. Imagine going through this offer, going through this program, and this is how you'll feel after the point B. So instead of making it like a real case study, paint the picture for them. It's almost like it's a crystal ball, or like you want them to envision themselves going through that transformation for themselves. That can be really powerful to make them really picture themselves in that final outcome. That's what we really want to achieve in that kind of an email. The other kind of middle email that we can do is tackling any objections. So if there's a few things that you know right off the bat that could be objections, or if you've heard objections before, make sure that you're covering those and answering those. So it can be like very specific, like you've got questions, I've got answers, type out the questions, type out the answers. Or you can make it more like natural storytelling, weave it into like descriptions of the program and be like the program or whatever the offer is. And you can just like weave it in while you're talking about the benefits of the program. You really want to use these middle emails to build your authority by sharing social proof, testimonials. You want to paint the picture for them of what the outcome, the real outcome is of what you're offering. And you want to tackle any objections, anything that could be popping up in their head. The other type of email that you want to make sure that you're covering within these middle emails is what else are they getting? If it's like a course and they're getting all of these bonuses, highlight those bonuses. If you're getting towards the end of the launch and you want to use a little bit of legitimate urgency, you could use an email to go out saying, hey, time's almost up. There's only this many spots left, or this deal only lasts until this time, or the doors are only open until this time. I don't want you to miss out. Here's all of the benefits and the outcomes that you can have from taking advantage of this offer. And then the last email is going to be like, last call, this is it, no going back. The doors are closing at midnight tonight, or whatever that looks like, as long as the doors are legitimately closing. And yeah, just kind of put like that last little bit of urgency on them. Again, like I talk about anti-sleaze marketing and like false urgency and like how icky that is. But if there's a legitimate urgency, like if there's only a certain number of spots, a certain number of tickets, if the doors really are closing, then use it. Like you're not being sleazy by telling people that there is legitimate urgency. The place where it gets a bit sleazy is if doors aren't really closing, if there aren't really that many spots left, or if there aren't limited spots. That's where the trust can be broken a little bit. So if you have legitimate urgency, don't be afraid to use it. I just had this conversation with somebody the other day who, was holding back a little bit from saying how many spots were available for something because she felt like she didn't want to come across as putting that pressure on. But the reality is you're doing, if you're not telling people that there's a limited number of spots, or that, the spots are almost full or the time is almost up, and they miss out on that offer and they miss out on that outcome, then that's a disservice to them, right? Just like anything with selling, if you're not talking about your offer, if you're not being upfront about these things when they're legitimate, then it's a disservice to the person, because they're the ones who are going to be losing out on that outcome, that offer. So when there is legitimate urgency, do not be afraid to use it, 100%. And the other piece of the launch puzzle that I think really helps to solidify that trust with your audience, kind of sets you up for future offers, future launches, is to send an email after the launch. So if people chose not to buy from you in this launch, we don't want to cut them. We don't want to leave them hanging. We don't want to make them feel like they're dead to us because they didn't buy our offer. We want to show them that they're still welcome, that they can still get value from being in your space. So you could send out an email after saying, thank you so much for joining me in this launch. Thank you so much for following along. Thank you to those of you who decided to join this time around. I can't wait to work for you. And if you didn't, that's okay too. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to be able to serve you in some other way in the future. So stay tuned on this, this email list, and see what else is coming up. There's lots more of exciting things coming up. So making them feel like, we don't want to make them feel bad because they didn't buy from you. I've seen this happen. I've had this happen to me where I didn't buy something and I was made to feel like crap after, and like basically being told that I don't have my priorities right because I didn't make the investment. And yeah, not impressed, and definitely not buying from that person ever in the future. So we never want to leave people with that feeling, because those people are still part of your audience, even if they didn't buy. Maybe they referred somebody to your program. Maybe they will refer somebody to your program. Like, you never know where that relationship is going to end up. So we never want to just leave them hanging, leave them with nothing. We want to thank them for being there and let them know that there's still more good things coming, whether it's the free value in the emails or whether it's a future offer or a future launch, whatever that needs to look like. So that's kind of my go-to. Like I said, I usually do like between 4 to 6 emails. I like to do a mix of kind of those middle emails, but the first and the last is always like doors open, doors closing tonight, or whatever, the window is. And a typical launch, a lot of the ones that I've done are usually about a week in length. So one of the ones that I do, we usually do 5 days, and we do an email every day for those 5 days. And I know what you're thinking. You might be thinking like, oh my God, I don't want to email my list 5 days in a row. They're going to hate me. They're not going to hate you. Zero offense, but they're not paying that close attention. And the other thing is, if they do get annoyed with the email every day, they're probably not going to buy the offer anyway. So if they end up unsubscribing, then bless and release, right? It's like you can't expect everybody on your list to buy. I think the actual conversion rate of your list when you do a launch is something like 10% of your list. So I was hearing Amy Porterfield talk about this once with, like, say you want to launch a course and you know that you want to make X amount of dollars, the course is this much, how many people need to buy it in order to make this much in this launch? That number of people is going to be 10% of your audience. So do you have an audience built up enough? Do you have your list built up enough that 10% of that list is enough to reach that number? So the final piece of a launch that I usually like to incorporate is a sales page. And a sales page is different from a web page because it's actually like the format of it is built in such a way that, again, we're using buyer psychology. So we're giving them social proof, we're showing authority, we're tackling objections, we're adding legitimate urgency where it's necessary, we're giving them clear places to move, and we're letting them know all the benefits, not just the features, but the benefits. We're letting them know any bonuses that they're getting. It's basically like the home base of your launch. So what I typically do when I have a sales page is I'll use the emails to direct to the sales page. So the emails are usually shorter and sweeter and less overwhelming. And the only call to action on the email is to go to the sales page. From the sales page, they can get all of the information that they want. or they can buy right at the top. There's going to be a button usually at the top where they can skip right to buying if they're ready to go, to make it nice and easy for them. And I just find that that makes the emails a bit less overwhelming. So yeah, that's usually what I would recommend. But I've also done launches where there's no sales page and like we're putting everything in the emails. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. I just think it is easier to have a sales page where you can direct everybody. So even on social media, you're just directing people to the sales page and then they can buy from there. So that's my go-to for launches when it comes to the copywriting for launches. And if you have any questions at all, you know where to find me. Just right on Instagram. You can slide in my DMs. And yeah, I'm trying to think. So the next part in this series will be around what does an overall strategy look like? So if you have launches, but you also want to nurture your audience, what does that look like to have that overarching strategy of like, where am I selling in a year or in a quarter or however you want to break it up? And where am I nurturing and what am I going to put in all those emails? That's what I want to cover next. So stay tuned for the next solo episode where we will cover that and we'll chat soon. Okay, before you go, I have one thing that I want to share with you. I have tried a number of different email marketing softwares, and I'm going to be honest, I'm a good writer. I'm good at that side of things. I am absolutely horrible at graphic design or like making things look pretty. I make things sound really pretty, but I cannot make them look pretty to save my life. And some of the programs that I was using before were like very hard to navigate, very hard to like customize different things and create templates, and I really struggled with it. I just wanted like a simple, clean process and like simple templates that I can just reuse over and over again. And then I found Flowdesk, and Flowdesk is so easy to use. The templates are beautiful. Even I can make my emails look good. And if I can do that, then anyone can do it, including you. And I have good news for you as well. As a Flowdesk partner, I have a special code for you where you can actually save 25% off your first year with Flowdesk. And that makes a big difference. So you get beautiful emails and you get to save. There's really no downside to this. So go ahead and grab the link in the show notes if you want to give Flowdesk a try. If you have any questions about how it works or anything, let me know. I'm always happy to help. And yeah, go have fun with your emails, for goodness sakes. I want to take a quick moment just to thank you so much for joining me in this space, and just to encourage you that if there was anything that kind of sparked something for you, or that you felt like somebody that you know maybe needed to hear, please feel free to share the episode. And if you are excited to hear more, go ahead and subscribe and listen to more of the episodes. I'm so excited that you're here, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you.